everyone, it's Shel C from PaperOcotilloStudio, and today I'm sharing with you day 27 of our daily art journaling challenge. I'm making an art journal page and a video every day. Today I'm a little bit behind because I've been making them in advance, and I got too busy and too crazy, and I couldn't get this one done today in advance. So it's coming out a little bit late. Today's prompt is Nirmala Naiveington. And that person obviously sounds like some naive person who maybe doesn't understand how some things work in the world. I still like to think I'm naive a little bit, even though I'm old. I should know how everything works. But is it being naive? Is being naive not understanding how things work, or being in denial of how things work, or trying to have a positive outlook and believe in positivity? Is that naive to believe in positivity? I mean, I don't think it is, but sometimes it comes off that way. It's like something happens and other people say, "Oh, well, you should have known. You should have seen that coming. You should understand that that was going to happen." When in reality, you're just trying to think the best of people, and try to make the world a happier place and not dwell on the fact that there's a lot of crap in the world. There just is. So I also, when I was thinking about the word naive, which is in the last name, Naiveington, there is a genre of art that is called naive art. And it is bright colors, simple shapes, almost childlike. And very often the stuff that I draw comes out that way. And I think that that's because, well, for one thing, I just like bright colors, and I like whimsical stuff. I don't want to draw skulls and death and darkness, even though that stuff exists and I understand that it does. That's not where my art tends to go to. So I like to make whimsical figures. I like to make animals, a lot of animals and nature type stuff. And that's my style, my personal preference. So there are a whole genre of artists who are making naive art, which is, they draw really cute cats, or they draw characters that are whimsical, and it's just a thing. And so I decided to make my page today be that style of art. And this is a very quick version. There's absolutely nothing to say that naive art means unskilled. Even though it looks childlike, it is not unskilled. It is, they have just as much training or practice, people who make this type of art, as anyone else. They do just as much layers, just as much shading, just as much fussing as any other type of art. The end result is happy and childlike looking. My page today is quick. It is not I'm saying it's in the style of naive art, but it's not in any way nearly as sophisticated as it could have been. It's very, very simple. I started out with some acrylic paints. I wanted to use light and bright colors because the character to me seems like, Nirmala, I think, is a female name. So it seems like a female person, and it seems like with Naiveington that they're perhaps, I found a poem, and then the poem, let me see who it was written by because I can't remember the name of it now. Someone named Shannon Fletcher wrote a poem, and the poem, what I did was I Googled naive, and then I came up with a bunch of different stuff, And this poem has the word naive in it, naivety, which made the poem come up. And this poem is exactly how this character is feeling. And she's sad because she misses someone. I'm imagining it perhaps maybe she fell in love with a boy, and he maybe had a darker heart than her, and he took advantage of the situation, and then he took off, and now she's trying to overcome these sad feelings of missing this person who she thought she was in love with, and realizing that maybe he wasn't in love with her, and maybe he just took advantage of her naivety. So the poem was perfect. The character is a sad looking girl who, is maybe just she was naive in thinking that this person that she fell in love with could be any different. And I know a lot of you out there, I know most of my audience is female, although there are some males. And I know that a lot of you probably encountered a situation like this when you were young, maybe even when you were old. Because people aren't always trustworthy, and they come sometimes disappoint you. And I don't know. I still think it's better to be positive and to believe in the goodness of people and situations, and rather than curling up into your shell and protecting your heart, because people aren't always as genuine as you think they are. And I'm sure that some of you will argue that, because there is definitely a couple ways of thinking of it. Sometimes it feels like maybe you should just hide when people are being jerks. And I certainly have that tendency myself to just kind of run away and hide from mean people. But that doesn't change the fact that I still believe people are good. It hasn't changed my outlook in life, I guess. So I I used some collage. I made a little child looking, when children draw, you say draw a person, draw a house, draw a scene. They will very often draw these cute little houses with flowers and sunshines and little stick people. And that's a good style, right? So I've got this colorful background, even with a little bit of fluorescent pink, muted down into pastel by mixing it with white. That's how you make a pastel, is to mix whatever bright color pigment with some titanium white, which will then pastel it out. And then I drew over the top. Well, first I put some collage pieces. So I made a little collage house. I made a circle for the sunshine. I made a little dress out of a piece of watercolor paper that someone sent me that they had doodled on. And I thought that made a cute patterned pinafore type dress. And then I put some little arms on it and a little ruffle at the bottom. Then I drew with the pencil my character shapes. Oh, I first put some gesso on just to lighten up the areas where I was going to put the face, arms, and legs, to kind of, make it a blank slate before I put more color over the top, because I figured I was going to use a water soluble medium over the top. And as we all know, as I talk about it every time, water soluble medium, like these crayons that I'm using, are translucent. And so if I put them over the bright color, then they would be tinted by whatever was underneath, because you can see through the color. So by putting the gesso on first, then I make a bit of a blank slate in order to color over the top. So I put the gesso where I thought the things were, and then I drew in with pencil, some graphite, and then now I'm coloring with these Neo Color 2 water-soluble crayons, which are a favorite of mine. And using a water brush, using another little, I add a little bit more gesso over the top where some areas were being problematic with a regular brush. And drawing periodically in between, just to make this real simple character, simple page. There's not a lot of movement here. I didn't draw her arms and legs bent, or her head tilted, or anything that would create movement. This is so simplistic, so basic. But I was in a hurry, and I needed to get this done in some time today before the day was through. I needed to get this page done. I needed to get this character developed. I needed to get the video edited and uploaded. So I didn't spend as much time as I might have on this one. But I still think she's cute. She looks sad because, the last line in the poem is, well, the last two lines, I'm running out of tissues. I miss you. And that's a sad person. That's sad person who's trying to overcome some sort of a heartbreak. And so that's where I was going with Nirmala Naiveington, who perhaps let herself get into a situation that made her very sad. You know, it happens. It happens to everyone. So I made blue hair because she's feeling blue. And I also just don't like to make regular hair. I like colored hair. I think it's cooler. So she's got blue hair. She's got this little pinafore dress, maybe with a t-shirt underneath, little blue t-shirt underneath. And then this very interesting piece of watercolor doodled paper that was sent to me in Happy Mail. It was a postcard size piece of watercolor paper with a lot of colorful doodle on it. I thought it worked out well for this. The house piece, you can tell it looks like gel printing, right? Well, it's actually from the package, the gel printing insert in a gel plate. I don't know which brand, but it is a print, but then it was very small. It was just a little square. So I thought that would make a cute house. I like to upcycle stuff. Pretty pattern packaging. I just save it in my scraps. And then the roof of the house was from an envelope. And then the sunshine piece was from some sort of printed paper that I had in my stash. I also used my Neocolor 2 crayons, but I also used a few of the Woodies from Stabilo. I think I put the grass in on the hill with that. And I used, of course, a Posca pen, a white Posca pen. I also used a gray Pentel color brush pen, which is a water-soluble brush pen with ink and watercolor ink inside of it. And I think that's all I used, except for I did print the poem on my printer and cut it apart and glue it on there. Yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying these. It's almost over. 28, 29, 30, and 31. So there's 4 more. I'll be making one live tomorrow on the Art Joy of Sharing live stream show at 8:30 Pacific time over on the Art Joy of Sharing live stream channel. Peg's not going to be there. She's traveling. Lucky Peg. Wish I was traveling. And then after that, there'll be 3 more videos. Yeah. And this will be done, and I will be I'll be slowing down in November. I've got people coming to visit in November, and of course there's a holiday and also preparation for the holidays in December. Becomes a little bit busy, but I still have some collaborations and hops and different things going on, obviously. I'm not doing nothing. I'm just not going to be doing a video every day. I know some of you are going to be sad that there's not a video every day. Yeah, you've already told me that you're going to be sad. So yeah, it's the perfect poem for this page. As fleeting as the heart that's beating is a thought of what may never be. The path is seemingly blocked by naivety, constantly caught up in perfect reverie, memory, of course, hoping to overcome these issues, running out of tissues. I miss you. That's a good poem. Good job, Shannon Fletcher, if you ever see this. It was from the internet. I don't know if she's published or what, but that's a good poem. So I am finishing up. I've got to cut my little poem apart that I printed on, just a word processing program into little strips. I don't like to put it on as a block. I always like to cut everything into strips or stickers or whatever if I happen to make it on sticker stuff. And I just think it looks better. And also, it gives you those pauses in between when you're reading poetry. You shouldn't just read it straight through. You should stop and pause and think about it. So I think that helps. And it just makes it look more interesting on the page instead of just being in a white block. So that's why I do that. I also put shadows. I did a pretty terrible job of shadows this time. They kind of went up. I was using that brush and my hand is a little bit shaky today, and I blopped in a few spots. That's a technical term, blop. And it wouldn't come back up because it's soaked into the paper. It's printer paper, so whatever. It's an art journal page. It's not the end of the world. The book is going to be shut because there's only one more page left in here, which will be tomorrow's, and then the last two, I guess, will have to be in my black journal to finish up this challenge for the month of October 2021. Make sure to give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment or question below, subscribe if you haven't already, and of course you can share this. You can turn on your notification bells if you'd like to know when videos come out. So that's it for me for today. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.